So I've just kind of found out by accident there's now a Payware Queenstown airport. It's a company called Builds, and on their website it was saying you get a discount if you'd bought the Microsoft version. So it's obviously one they did for Microsoft Flight Simulator and then converted to X-Plane. So I've just bought myself a copy and let's have a look and see what it's like. Now the first thing you notice is the whole thing is set to Always Flatten, which completely caves in all the mountains around here. Looks utterly stupid, so that's going to have to be fixed. Into WED. And in there you'll notice that for the scenery in New Zealand there is a stray object just off the coast of South America, which doesn't fill me full of confidence as far as their quality control department goes for this scenery. So, always flatten off. Mountains now not looking utterly stupid. Yep, that's better. I've got a few buildings out here. They're very well made by the look of things. Custom buildings, looking the way that they should. And a huge amount of areas where there's no buildings whatsoever. Yeah, they've only done a few. The few they have done are very nice, and they seem to be quite accurate, but yeah, there's an awful lot of gaps where there should be buildings, but there isn't. Right, as for the airport, ignore that plane with no texture, by the way. That's nothing to do with the scenery, that's me. Yeah, the actual terminal building, all this here, that looks very nice. So they are very good at making buildings by the look of things. Yeah, nicely textured, looks good. Got an interior. What the place doesn't have though is any people. Yeah, I don't think there's a human being anywhere in this scenery, which kind of makes it feel a little bit lifeless, I think. Yeah, don't really know what to say about that. Back to buildings. See the sign on the front of this one. You see, yeah, building's accurately modelled, but as far as the sign goes, nothing painted on it. Has got the sign, they just haven't painted the company name or the logo or whatever it is. Again, same with that one. So yeah, that's a little bit odd. But what's quite a lot odd is now we've turned off Always Flatten, we've now got floating buildings instead. Great. Yeah, that should have been an easy fix. Yeah, not very impressive, that is it. Yeah, quite a few of them. I don't know what it's like around there. Didn't actually notice anything floating when I've just been having a look at the airfield itself. Not sure about the surrounding areas with those few out there. But there's that few buildings out there, it's hardly worth going to have a look anyway. Yeah, as I say, there's an awful lot missing. Yeah, including all the way down to Queenstown, where you remember in my freeware one, I filled in all the houses all the way down to Queenstown, but nope, you don't get any of that. It's just flat here. As for buildings, if we have a look at this one, that brown one with the sort of white bit and the pillars, I think it might be something to do with car hire. And the in-game, there it is, right next to where the tarmac textures don't line up with each other very well. And yeah, you also notice there's no fence either, so you can drive into the car park and then drive straight out onto the apron, which is nice. As for the apron, markings everywhere, that looks all quite nice. Actually quite liking the look of those textures. That seems alright. Yeah, definitely get a plus point there. That's actually quite nice. And your sort of generic clutter, bits and pieces, and the stairs. And actually, I've just thought about that. There's nothing moving here either, is there? Got fuel trucks and the baggage cars and the loaders. The larger airports, you kind of got used to having something moving around. That just kind of, I think that contributes to the feeling of it just being dead. Anyway, back outside, end of the runway, a sort of blast wall thing. We'll look on Street View. Wasn't there in 2010, but in December 2012 they had built it by then. So it's been there for quite a while, but you won't find that in the scenery. And you won't find a perimeter fence either, so you can drive off that road straight onto the end of the runway. And then drive down to the apron, and if you did so at night, there's some fairly standard night lighting that we've come to expect in X-Plane. Yeah, light poles cast in there, light spill, all looks nice enough. Yeah, happy there. Off the apron with this yellow lighting, that's a custom light spill effect that they've done, which looks okay, but it does look quite different to the rest of X-Plane. It kind of doesn't really match up very well. It's a bit jarring between the two. And there's no light poles either. Light poles, lamp posts, whatever you want to call them. You can see here there's absolutely nothing. Their custom thing is just the spill effect of the light. We actually have lampposts in X-Plane. I'm thinking that would have been much better to not use that spill effect and actually use proper lampposts, because we have them, and then the whole thing joins up with the rest of the X-Plane world as well. Well, talking of joining up, it comes with a bit of ortho, which doesn't always join up with itself. If you remove all of that ortho and just try and use the Lindemann one, there's this black polygon. Not really sure what that is. You'd have to delete that out and do a bit of editing if you just wanted to use the Lindemann ortho, which I think you could do. It doesn't seem an awful lot different to their custom one, but back with their custom one, and some more buildings which I'm not sure entirely line up or are missing. And so I've just noticed some grass all over the tarmac as well. Yeah, that doesn't line up together very well, does it? And I might take back what I said about liking the ground textures as well. Just looking at this dotted line. It looks like something they've just copied a polygon straight from a Google Earth or Bing or something like that. That, to my mind, that should have been painted out and then actually put a proper white line on top of it. Although where they have done that, that's not entirely accurate with these road markings. I'm going to call that a little bit off. I'm not too sure what they've done there. But it certainly doesn't match the road on their own ortho, does it? So, yeah, and loads more missing buildings. Yeah, I think we've seen enough, haven't we? So let's sum this up. If I got a message that said, "Hi Daz, I've been making stuff in other games for years, but I've just started with X-Plane and this is my first ever scenery here. It's not finished yet, but can you have a look at my work in progress and tell me what you think?" If I received that message, this airport is exactly what I'd expect to find. With some places you can get away with using Always Flatten, but quite clearly not here. Seeing the mess it makes of the local mountains and then deciding to carry on anyway, I struggle to think how somebody could have such low self-esteem that they would find that acceptable. and then not to check anything else to see if polygons line up, or even simple things like, is there any grass on the taxiways? Personally, I have enough respect for myself and for other people where I would feel ashamed to upload this as freeware. The fact that somebody considers it payware quality, that's just fucking embarrassing.